Good morning. It's me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers. And this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine sides of self. Understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others and in our external environment. And if we want to see changes, we really do need to shift the energy within ourselves, shift how we look at things, and unblock and release and rebuild, which is what we're going to do today. Yay. Thanks for joining me. We're going to find out what it is that we really need to release, and we're going to use the feminine energy within self to do that. And then we're going to find out what we should rebuild in the place of the thing that was released, and we're going to use the masculine energy to rebuild that. When you come to these readings, it's likely that you have some kind of an intention, whether it be about a person or yourself or your career or something like that. And there's something that you usually desire to receive from the reading: reassurance, confidence, like a validation of your intuition. And in some cases, like information about when something is going to happen. That's primarily the reason why most people come to readings. And as I practice divination, I suppose that I do give that information. But mostly, I'm trying to give you information that will help you to achieve what it is that you desire, rather so much wonder when it's going to happen, but actually figure out what you can do to open up and release what needs to be released and allow what needs to come in to come in. So hopefully that's what you get from these readings. But whatever it is that you desire, lightly hold that in your mind right now. Just like if you walked away from this reading today, what do you think that would have made you happy, that you would really like to hear from it? Whatever that is, that's something that's coming from, a combination of your ego and higher self, probably a blend of those two things. And that's what you think that you need. So now here is what you really need. I love this. First of all, look at this very high priestessy sort of energy coming from the creativity oracle that I'm using today. And the Ace of Cups. So really fascinating is that this card represents beliefs, and it says we all have certain beliefs that help us or can trap us and keep us from moving toward creative solutions. So maybe you thought you needed to receive an offer of love, and the universe agrees. Like, it's time for you to receive an offer of love. But maybe what you really need is to learn how to change your beliefs about love, how to give and receive it, the experience of that offer, self-love, divine love, all of those concepts and beliefs we need to sort of look at today. That's what we really need. So you might have come here because you're looking for love. It is Friday, and Friday is a day that energetically spells or manifestations regarding love have more impact or more effective, etc. If you believe that, right? Because we're looking at our beliefs about love today, which I love. Okay. So we start with the feminine side in order to release first, to make room for what we want to rebuild. Now, when you are here, you are a blend of those two energies. And if you are here to getting information or insight about a relationship with a specific person, that person will also be a blend of these energies. If they directly reflect back to you and are mirroring your every move, then they will very closely resonate with this energy. If they are just somebody that's more of a catalyst who is triggering you to understand the spiritual journey and that you're a spiritual being and that you're on this specific path, then you will probably see some mirroring and then direct contrast, which will be more of a triggering type of an experience. Oh, hi, Katie. I love when I catch you live. Also, Amazon said you should have a surprise. Oh, thank you so much for sending me a deck. If anyone else would like to send me a deck, which I really do love to receive, that's an awesome gift. You can, of course, click the link below or go to my website. That reminds me, you saying Amazon reminds me, before we get into the reading, that I am reading a book, and I wanted to encourage everybody who is interested in such things to read it, because I think it's going to be coming up for me a lot. But this is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And we're often getting the Mary Magdalene card as a guardian from thy deck. And I want to know more about her. And Sin, aka Grace Strega, she is reading this. So we're reading this together because we're going to discuss it. And I'm excited about it, like book club style, ... But anyway, if you all are interested in spiritual books and you want to like get into this with me later at some point in time, The Gospel of Mary Magdalene by Geneviève Leloup is really interesting. So reading that's an aside. Just the Amazon thing reminded me, because I wanted to mention that if anybody wanted to read that with me and talk about it, because I want to. Okay. If you want to contact me, go to pearlsprayers.com. That's where you can book personal readings and all the things. And that's all I'm going to say about that today. But please go support me if you can. And of course, like, subscribe, share, and do all those great things as well. Let's get started. All right. So we're going to look at the head space and the heart space. And yes, of course, I'm still using these freaking cards, the Tarot of Mystical Moments, because it's such a gorgeous deck. I can't stop using it. So I apologize. You'll be seeing it every day, but I don't apologize because it's beautiful. In the headspace, we're using the Tarot of the Divine. I like that the Tarot of the Divine and the Tarot of Mystical Moments are together, united in this reading. We're first going to look at the general energy surrounding what needs to be released for the Divine Feminine. So there's something she needs to release, and it's causing this general state within her. And then we'll look at the hidden assistance, which would be the bottom of the deck. And then we will look at what she actually needs to release. So first, let's just see what's the general energy. We are getting the Seven of Swords in reverse from the Tarot of the Divine. And we are getting the King of Wands upright from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. I freaking love this deck so much. Okay. So King of Wands, and a fiery one with a drum. Now, if you are a member, you either taking the Spiritual Nourishment course or a member of the website for $3 a month. I did the Tell Me Everything spread, and this was a player in that spread yesterday. And it came out for the Divine Feminine. It was, what position was it in? Oh, it was what she wanted from the masculine. She wanted the masculine to take action, of course. But what's interesting is that the drum here played, that there was this driving force, because I talked about how in the military, the drummer boy is the one that, of course, this is a man, not a boy, but it's the one that provides the motivation and the structure that allows everybody to fall into alignment. So she wanted the Divine Masculine to take the action to provide the foundation and the structure for the relationship to fall into alignment. And there was more to it. I can't remember the headspace card, but that was the in the heart space, maybe. This was headspace. Heart space was Ostara, but I can't remember the exact card. So today, in the general energy surrounding what needs to be released, we're looking in her headspace at the Seven of Swords in reverse, 8:55 on the clock when I looked just now. So we've got the Seven of Swords being associated with deception, lies, cheating, stealing, getting away with things, but also strategy, surprises. I'm overwhelmed with this feeling, so I know exactly what this is. Divine Feminine is tired of games, with this masculine, and she doesn't want to play them anymore. And this is not her blaming it on the masculine energy. Actually, this is a reflection of her own trying to strategize or figure out exactly how to get this divine masculine to take action. She is tired of this because she feels his passion. She feels that he has a vision of the two of them, and she's ready for that. But she's not wanting to really think about how to do it anymore, or like being careful, trying to like walk on eggshells. I'm thinking of somebody that's like tiptoeing, because we see like a tiptoeing energy coming from this card when it's upright. So she's no longer wanting to like I'm thinking like I had a dream about my person, and I just told them, I'm like, I'm not even going to hold on to this shit anymore. Like, I'm literally just going to say whatever. I'm not going to be like, oh, should I say or not say, or like, no. So that's the general energy right now. Divine Feminine really trying not to like over strategize how to get someone to take action, and under strategize how to take action in her own life herself. It's like focus on what's going to happen. What are these secrets that are going to unfold? Like, and then not kind of doing her own things to take action in her life because she's so focused on this other person too. There's something about that also, just sort of like a meh. But here's the hidden assistance. Significant if you happen to catch the TikTok video, which let me tell you, yesterday, I was trying to get this. I had my beautiful tarot of the mystical moments, and I was trying to get this really gorgeous message out. And I'm not going to tell you what it was because it wouldn't let me send this message, which did involve a surprise. So, I'm just realizing something about that. Okay. Anyway, but so I was like, okay, fine. But like, I want to put out a message. So I reshuffled the entire deck, and then I recorded a message and put it out, which was also beautiful. But it was really interesting because it did not reveal what I knew from the reading before to the collective. One of the cards from the original reading came out, but the rest of it, like, allowed the original message to remain hidden. And that was very interesting. But one of the cards that came out, there was a strength card that came out. And then there was, the day before, there was another reading with the strength card. And that card in the Tarot of Mystical Moments happens to look like a Beauty and the Beast card. And now we're getting from the Tarot of the Divine, a completely different deck, the Lovers, and they're choosing to use the Beauty and the Beast tail to portray the Lovers on this card, which is literally, again, that strength card, which I don't know about you, but has been in every single reading I have seen lately. This is coming out with the High Priestess. So, the hidden assistance for Divine Feminine right now, as she's surrendering the need to give up, to figure out how to freaking get this masculine to do anything, is that there is a strong connection between them, and that she knows intuitively about that. And that is just helping her to sort of float on her emotions of love, which are, I feel, kind of coming in a much gentler way for her right now. There's a gentling element here. She's tamed her own beast that desperately needs love, and she's trusting the balance of the masculine and feminine within self. I also feel the storyline that she was carrying, the fairy tale of Beauty and the Beast that she was carrying before with her, she's tamed even the hold that story has over her. Like, it's her job to tame or heal the masculine energy, blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. No, it's your job to heal yourself. The divine masculine heals himself by the integration of his own feminine energy. Like, it's not your job. So she's putting that tail, the fairy tales, behind. Good morning, Christina. And trusting instead in her own intuition. And she's really learning how to do that. So this is her hidden assistance. She's learning how to love the beastly side of herself, and accept those things about her because of the relationship that has caused her to have to do that for another. She's now balancing and doing it for herself within, which is beautiful energy. So that's her hidden assistance, and it really can't get more beautiful than that. There also is a feeling there that the hidden assistance is that this masculine who she's, no longer going to try to figure out how he's going to take action. This is her soulmate. Not only are we getting the divine masculine king, because this king is like the spiritual king, just like the Queen of Wands is the spiritual queen for me. This is the spiritual king, the monogamous king, etc. And she is trusting her intuition. This is my soulmate. And because it's my soulmate, I don't have to tiptoe. I don't have to try to figure out how to be with him. I just need to be. So what past experience do I need to release? We have the Hierophant in reverse again with the releasing, and it's a release card because it's like releasing limiting beliefs. Yes, okay, that's what we're doing. And the Two of Pentacles, gorgeous illustration of the Two of Pentacles. This feminine balancing on top of the building I live in, pretty much in the city. Looks very much like my building, except my building's little. It's like half the size of that, but it's literally the same kind of architecture. And she is balancing using this infinity symbol here, those two pentacles up there. And this is an amazing feat. Look how difficult it must be to do that. And the fall from that experience is going to be very steep and most likely going to be fatal. Here's hoping. I don't think I would want to wake up from that fall. And so this has been a precarious juggling experience of responsibilities, of, love and career, of potentially two options. She might have had a karmic and a soulmate, or, but there's been this juggling behavior, not choosing, not just making a decision to trust in the eternal connection. Remember, what is her hidden assistance? That this divine masculine who she desires to take action is her soulmate. There is a strong connection between them. The Hierophant in reverse is a card that's talking about, sorry, I just got distracted by a message I just got on my phone, which is interesting. It was just from my sister, but so this is a card that is about rigid authority structure, having faith. It's about learning higher level lessons. It is associated with marriage because it's about vows, taking vows, binding contracts, etc. So for some, this can be that a past marriage has been released. Remember, this is a collective reading. There's all different people in here. So some may have released a past marriage, a past long-term commitment. Some may have been juggling the responsibility of a long-term commitment with, wanting to remain adventurous and it's thrill-seeking. But there's some limiting belief that she also, I think overwhelmingly for this feminine, is the feeling of being juggled despite a strong connection. So she has this limiting belief. Remember, look, what were we supposed to work on today? Beliefs about love. So a limiting belief that when someone loves you, they may still not choose you. That was keeping her in this back and forth energy with a masculine that was not choosing her. And because of that limiting belief that she received about love from that other person, it's now been difficult for her to believe that this divine masculine, who she really does feel is her soulmate, is actually going to come and surprise her and take action, because she was juggled so much in her past. So she has to release that feeling of being juggled, of not choosing, which means she was frequently and likely not choosing herself, right? Because if you're allowing yourself to be juggled, you're not choosing yourself. You feel bad when this person doesn't choose you. And rather than get off the scale and just let, the ship fall the other way and just go your own way, she stayed in the cycle. She stayed in the cycle because she felt, oh, this is an eternal connection, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But if she releases this feeling of not being chosen, of constantly being juggled, of constantly being not prioritized, this is going to help her finally see this action come from this person. So, what can I do right now to soothe myself? My God. All right. We're getting the King of Cups here and the Emperor. This is my favorite card in that deck, I think. There's something about that house on his head that I just can't get over. My friend said this looks like magical surrealism. Ash, that does the spiritual nourishment course with me, that's what she said. And I was like, that is what this artist is like. So what will soothe divine feminine right now is the King of Cups upright. The King of Cups upright. Now, I can give this card a bad rep sometimes because of the withholding aspect that comes from the King of Cups. But this is coming out with this Emperor card. So I feel that the shadow traits of the King of Cups are actually like nullified by the Emperor energy. So what will soothe divine feminine is thinking about the fact that this masculine, who she would like to take action, is a good person, a father figure, a guide, a loving protector, sensitive, able to feel emotions, likely psychic, all the light attributes associated with this King of Cups. Somebody who really feels emotional mastery. So they might keep their feelings contained, but it's not in the withholding, anxious way of the King of Cups that can be in shadow, because the Emperor energy is showing us that this light-filled energy from the Emperor as well, which is the ability to have emotional mastery but still be able to express it because it's bold. The divine masculine in the Emperor energy is bold and daring. That's an Aries energy. So we're getting like the water energy here, and then we're getting this fire, but then also the stability of the throne, and really all the kings being embodied in the Emperor. You get all the signs to a certain extent for me. Technically, it's associated with Aries, but I associate all four kings with the divine masculine. So the feminine can soothe herself by understanding that she knows intellectually that this King of Cups does have emotional mastery. And if he is being somewhat quiet, it's more of a stoicism rather than a fear-based withholding. It's more him being like, I know what I want. I am not afraid that I can't have it. And I feel bold enough to claim what is mine. And this is also just this acknowledgement that this eternal connection that is in this hidden assistance, this person is the divine masculine. So she can soothe herself with that knowledge. What can I expect to encounter as I make space for new energy? The Queen of Swords upright in the headspace, and the Seven of Cups in the heart space. So the ability to be very clear and discerning in regards to all of the opportunity and the options that you have, to cut through any confusion or any potential that you're mistaking this person that you're thinking about as a soulmate. You'll be able to see very clearly that this person is a soulmate once you release the limiting beliefs about being juggled. Now, for some of you, it might be that you're releasing the belief that this person is your soulmate because you're recognizing that they have kept you in a pattern of back and forth and withheld from you, and you are able to see clearly and cut out any other options. So if there's feminines that have two options, they're going to see clearly which one is their divine masculine once they stop allowing themselves to be juggled. So that just to hit all of the collective points that could be coming in through these cards. But ideally, you're just going to be able to see very clearly and have an understanding and have clear boundaries. And you're going to be able to just choose what you wish and not necessarily feel that that is somehow, that it's like fate that's controlling that, but rather that you yourself created your destiny by simply desiring a soulmate. What behaviors have gotten in my way? Page of Swords and the King of Pentacles, where we have the female King of Pentacles. So the Page of Swords is a card that is about curiosity, being brave enough to do something, looking, spying, watching. I always associate it with Harry Potter behind the gravestone in the fourth book when he has to face Voldemort and he has his wand, and the only spell that he really has is Expelliarmus, which is just a disarming spell. And even though that's all he has, he's just like not gonna die like at the hands of Voldemort. Like he wants to die with dignity. So he steps out from the stone and uses the only spell he has. And it turns out actually that it creates this connection between the wands, and it ends up saving him in the end. So it's not necessarily being prepared for something and just going after it and doing it anyway. But this is what has gotten in your way. And it's interesting because to be the King of Pentacles as a divine feminine is ideal, right? In balancing masculine and feminine energy. It's understanding that you yourself embody the masculine energy. And this card has come out as a positive card many times, actually, since I got the deck last week. But there is something about, look at the way that this page isn't looking at the divine feminine. It's so what I'm seeing is this, because this card is associated now very commonly with like spying on people, looking at their social media constantly. I'm seeing that the behavior that has gotten in divine feminine's way is looking outside of herself for this King of Pentacles. And because she's distracted looking outside, she's not seeing exactly how she doesn't need this specific person that she's focused on to do anything, to take any action, because she herself embodies this provider protector energy within. And it's gotten in her way that she's consistently seeking outside of self in a somewhat immature fashion, refusing to see her own power. What can I do now to avoid this? Death, the Three of Pentacles in reverse, and the Chariot. I love this Chariot. It reminds me of the never-ending story in the very beginning. There's that strange creature that is riding a snail, but it's like a fast snail. Anyway, that's immediately what I think of when I see this. So Divine Feminine then, to avoid this behavior of looking outside of yourself, you need to end this fixation on what the material world is looking like. The Three of Pentacles. This is also about collaboration, cooperation, and teamwork. It's resisting working with others. It can mean that. So it's like ending this resistance to collaboration, partnership, and teamwork, and to seeing the potential for that, I believe. And the Chariot is about surrendering control and allowing the divine to drive. And it's about balancing and also soulmates. But in this image, we are not seeing that energy, actually. I mean, we are really seeing these two antennae, which honestly is how the snail actually even sees, being connected to these reins. And the feminine herself having like a snail-like quality coming from her hair here, which is almost like turning her into this slow-moving energy. So it's like telling me that Divine Feminine, when you try to do everything yourself, you slow things down. And you think the divine is taking too long and is too slow, but the divine is not the snail that you're thinking about, right? The divine is the never-ending story snail, like the fastest snail in the land or whatever the hell that thing is. It's got wheels. It's going to take you where you need to go, but you keep insisting on trying to do things yourself. And that's slowing you down. So you want to surrender this control to the divine. I have like this little financial, it's not even as bad situation. It's just this little thing that's niggling me. I need a certain amount of money. In the past, I would have been very focused on that amount of money. And it's supposed to come in the mail. A big portion of it's supposed to come in the mail, and it's been taking a while. And I'm just like in the shower this morning, which is where I usually have a lot of conversations with the divine, because that water is there for me and it really connects me. And I was just like, look, this is really taking a while. And I can see how I'm slowing myself down by thinking about how long it's taking, but also like, why is it taking so long? Please open me up to receive this so that this little annoying thing can be taken away. And also, can we get into a vibe where I don't have these kinds of resistance to financial things, etc.? Like I literally just had this conversation and I was like, go ahead, you do it. You do what you're going to do. And I trust you. And I know you're going to provide for me, but you're going to have to like shut my brain off because I can't. Like that's literally the conversation I had. So what is growing within me or this connection as I move on or release this thing that has been holding me down? And then look at this. We've got the Five of Coins upright, and then the High Priestess in reverse. So this is in the head space. And then in the heart space, we have the Six of Wands, which is a card of victory. And this hummingbird, which is always such an, for me still, when I moved to California, hummingbirds are real common here. And even when I was in Phoenix, they're just like, it seems like there's a lot of them and they're just real chill. Like So I see them quite a lot when I first moved to California, and they're always very stunning to me. They cause me to like suck in my breath for a minute and just be still. And that makes me think of that when I see this card. Now, what I love is that this in the headspace is what's growing within you. So what's growing within you is this no longer, it's like victory over your poverty consciousness, victory over those deeply held limiting beliefs. The high priestess here in reverse, these are things that have, like, we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust that we're going to be financially secure. But I just heard a reader today say this, and I love this. I've never thought about this from this card. This is why I still watch twin flame readings, even though I don't really want to keep honing in on that twin flame label. But the readers have these insights into the cards so much. And what she said is that in the Five of Pentacles, the individuals on the card are walking. Now, in this case, the Divine Feminine is huddled here and not walking. But in the original imagery, that is what is taking place. And we know that the 5 is going to progress to the 6. The 6, of course, being victory. In the 6 of Pentacles, it's reciprocity. So it's interesting because it's like both the 6 of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands represent success. One is like material success. One is a spiritual victory, which allows for the material success. And the 5s, of course, are temporary situations that are easily overcome. They are not such huge burdens or obstacles that we can't overcome them. So the Divine Feminine, as she releases these beliefs about, not being chosen, being juggled, not being able to choose something, however that works, that is actually going to also free her of any continuing beliefs about poverty consciousness in general. This is like, it's affecting her finances and love, or and maybe even if her finances are fine, it's like what she doesn't realize is they could be even more abundant and even more prosperous. But this focus on this material connection and the limiting beliefs about it have caused her to keep herself small. And she's going to see that and arrive at and achieve this spiritual victory that's going to free her from that bondage of those beliefs. Awesome. All right. So we'll go back and do her oracles to help her fully release. But let's go over to masculine now and begin the rebuilding process. So masculine side of self has to rebuild from this place that he is now in. Okay. We have the 10 of Swords from the OG Smith Waite deck in reverse. And I'm using the Rachel True Heart Intuitive Tarot. True Heart Intuitive Tarot. Yes. Okay. In the heart space. And so this card is telling me that there was an ending of some kind. The masculine has been stuck. The masculine energy, the reason, remember, Divine Feminine's over here like, I'm not even going to try to figure out how to get this masculine to take action. I don't even know what the holdup is, and I don't even care. I'm not going to tiptoe around anymore. I'm just going to be me and do me, and I'm going to say the things I think of when I think of them without holding back, and that's just how it's going to go. Divine Feminine over there. It's like, no more of this bullshit. And I feel that, very much. So the masculine had felt stuck, and here's the stuck feeling. The 5 of Wands is a card about struggling internally. It can be about cleaning up karmic messes, and it can be about, in this case, we're seeing this feminine energy which has the power to turn the masculine into stone, right? He can only look at her through a mirror, or he will be turned to stone. So this feeling of being stuck because of his fear about the wrath of the feminine. So there's either a feminine that he had to end a relationship with, or the feminine that he has kept waiting and has been waiting for him to end separation with. There's been a fear about the struggle between them. So he needs to rebuild from this place of fear, and the feeling of being stuck, cleaning something up. Now that he's no longer stuck, or he wants to end the separation, he's got to figure out how to like extricate himself from that feeling of being stuck, because that's how he has felt. His hidden assistance is the Chariot in the headspace, which was what would help Divine Feminine avoid her behaviors that got in her way, which was not seeing herself as capable or of providing her own sort of masculine energy, of meeting her own needs. So this masculine, what's helping him is this Chariot. First of all, there is a full speed ahead kind of emotion. This Chariot can't go until the reins are surrendered to the divine, just like we saw it with the feminine, the snail card here. And then in the heart space, we're having justice in reverse. So there is a swift, energetic pull to balance the scales. And this is the hidden assistance. It's like what goes up must come down. And on a scale, when you put something heavy on one side, you have to put something heavy on the other side to get it to balance, or you have to take something off, right? So something has been taken off Divine Masculine's plate. And that is going to create a swift balancing of the scales. It's happening very fast because it was quite a heavy burden that was released. So that motion is really pulling him forward. And he's balanced within masculine and feminine energy, head and heart, like honoring both sides of self, which is fantastic. All right. And then let's see. What challenges, right? No, yes. What past experiences challenge me in the rebuilding process? We have the Eight of Swords upright coming out with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse and the Seven of Cups in reverse. So we are seeing again the Seven of Cups, which we saw over here for the Divine Feminine. This is what she would be gaining. She would be gaining clarity about being chosen as an option, as about her choosing herself rather than someone choosing her. But when she chooses herself, then people reflect it back to her, type of a thing. So for the masculine energy, what has challenged him is that the Divine Feminine really has put up a protective boundary around herself and withheld her abundance and prosperity from him because she felt that he had other options that he was using to fill up his void inside of himself. So she had to protect herself from him. And what also we're seeing is the masculine energy created this protective barrier around himself from choosing the Divine Feminine. He also may have had to protect himself from another feminine energy that was a distorted maternal energy. And he didn't choose that energy and had to protect himself from that. And that is also why he has had to not approach the feminine. But it's been a mental constraint, not a real 3D one. And that has really challenged him from coming forward. So the one that is really strong for me, it's like a combination of all those things, but the strongest one is honestly that the divine feminine herself is afraid of not being chosen. And that, of course, is what we saw on her side, that she needs to release that belief. Once she releases that belief, of course, this masculine is choosing her. And then this isn't challenging him anymore. And she's not going to block him or hide herself away from him, or however that is playing out. What can I do right now to build my confidence? We are getting the 2 of Swords upright in the headspace and the 9 of Pentacles in reverse in the heart space. So divine masculine has to think about that when the divine feminine is going inward in this place where she is, where there is the standstill, that she is actually not engaging in this single and independent energy. She's actually waiting. So he can soothe himself like about this. Also, I feel that he's afraid. There's this fear of, if I don't make a choice, I'm going to lose this divine feminine. And the overwhelming feeling I get from the 9 of Pentacles energy is often more about the falcon that's in the card than it is about like the feminine energy being so beautiful and everything. And it's more about the falcon, that what is meant to be comes back to me. So if the divine feminine is currently blocking this masculine or not allowing him in, or going within to try to figure out how to open up her heart, or whatever it is that is happening, ultimately, she's always going to return to him. It's like we saw on her side that the way to soothe herself was knowing that this divine masculine is truly her soulmate. And that's what she's figuring out right now. She's figuring out what is important to her and what she values. And the other thing is that the masculine, really, to soothe himself, needs to choose not to be single himself anymore. That's a decision he just needs to make. He's been waiting to try to see if the feminine is going to do something that's going to make his fears. It's 9:33 on the clock right now, and there's 3 people in the room. Make his fears go away, and he's just got to stop doing that and actually decide himself to not be single anymore and to go and claim the feminine. What possible future challenges could arise? We have the High Priestess. That's the 3rd time she has come out today, with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse and the King of Pentacles upright. So what could possibly challenge the masculine is the divine feminine This is divine masculine, I believe, fearing rejection of his offer, or fearing that the divine feminine has another connection that is like a true soulmate and it's not him. It's like he has the same fear that divine feminine has. So he could possibly have a hard time trusting that, also just that he has enough to give to this divine feminine. It's like, Jesus, she's a priestess and I'm like this king. Like, this is a weird match. He also might think that she's too spiritual. Like, she's too, like, what does she want with worldly things when she is like this divine being? So there's putting this feminine on a pedestal that could challenge him by thinking she's too high up or too, definitely something about that. It's like it's like rejection wounds that are coming up could possibly challenge him. What past behaviors have destabilized me? The 10 of Wands upright the Four of Pentacles upright and the Eight of Cups upright. So this for me, this card is associated with oppression, burdens, responsibilities, and it's associated with communication. Holding on to something, holding on to all the things you want to say, because this is also holding on. It's like financial stability, but it's also about reputation and external validation. And then the Eight of Cups is about walking towards your higher calling. So I think what's actually been a problem for you, Divine Masculine, is that you are constantly trying to do this, to take this journey by yourself. You feel like you have to have some kind of an external manifestation of your worthiness in order to be able to truly walk this path. There's also a feeling that I'm getting that you're a little afraid to just put down the burden that you carry and tell the feminine that you hold on to her, that you left everything behind to come to her. That feeling might just be very overwhelming to you, that you realize that you were willing to leave everything behind, everything that you had thought was important to you before. You were just like, none of that matters now. And that has actually made you feel a little unstable, which is why the Chariot energy is helpful, because that's helping bring a sense of control over what has felt a little chaotic, because you're just like, Jesus, I just want to put whatever the feminine wants to do, that's what I want to do. Wherever she wants to go, that's where I want to go. Wherever she is, that's where I want to be. And that's been pretty destabilizing for you. What can I do to avoid this and stabilize? The Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Queen of Cups. This is stop focusing on material work and instead work on the emotional mastery within you. It's don't be so hard on yourself about how you, like what you've made in the world. Like understand that it's your heart that's really much more evident of who you are as a person than just the external trappings that you've been focused on creating. In general, it is just less focus on the material and more focus on how much you love this feminine. And that love and connection is the reason that people exist. And they enjoy that so much. And it does really feel good. And it allows them to create really beautiful masterpieces. But those things come from like within them. They don't come outside of them until they've truly connected. And then what future prospects do I have to look forward to once I rebuild and stabilize? We're getting the Hermit and the Magician in reverse. It looks like you will be on your own, and whatever feminine manipulative energy that had been there in the past is released. Being able to be on your own is allowing you to be able to do that work that has to be done, because your feminine within inside of self has been contained, tied up, suppressed, oppressed, right? The masculine oppressing the feminine energy. So you once you rebuild from this place of being stuck, right? Unable to end the separation because of some feminine energy that had some kind of a control over you, some kind of a karmic struggle learning these lessons, that energy that had that power, that sorceress. I mean, the Medusa energy is a sorceress. So somebody who had this power or hold over you will be released, and you will finally be on your own. And you have to be on your own in order to continue on that path, on that journey that was destabilizing you, that was making you feel afraid, that you wanted to give up everything and just go after this divine feminine. And you can't do that. You can't take that journey while that other energy has this hold over you. Whatever manipulative energy is there. All right, so let's take a look now at Divine Feminine's oracles. We can help her. Oh my God up in heaven. So I am doing the tarot of the 78 doors, and we're looking at something that needs to be released and how to rebuild once we've released it using the doors. So opening and closing doors analogy. Divine Feminine, here is that door that needs to be opened, or something about this that needs to be released. This was your hidden assistance, the Lovers. In this card, I'm going to just look at it more closely myself for a second. In this card, we have a Divine Feminine here watching as this masculine energy is, you know, holding this feminine's hand. So Divine Feminine's got to close the door on the storyline of the multiple choices. We already saw that here. You know, the divine masculine who is right for the feminine, he doesn't have other choices. How do we know? Because that divine masculine is working to end the struggle with this other choice. Like that, whatever was keeping him stuck is not keeping him stuck. There is no other choice for this masculine. So if the person that you're focused on has another choice and you're just watching them with the other choice, then that person is likely not the masculine that you are supposed to be developing a connection with. You might not have awakened to that person yet. They might not have entered your life yet. You might know exactly who they are. And you might know that this other person is the storyline that needs to be released. The other potential meaning is that this is actually the divine couple, and there is this other party on the outside who is observing them. And so then because of that, they can't be together. This is also a story that needs to be, the door needs to be closed on this story. What's interesting is to rebuild from this place of masculine not being trustworthy, because that's basically what we're looking at. We have this King of Swords. Now, I do not have these cards in reversals, so when it comes out in a reversal for me, it's extremely significant. The King of Swords in this depiction comes to this feminine energy. Now, she is very old in the card. She is actually in a wheelchair, so she is unable to move the way that she could move before. So she is actually the feminine that is in the Three of Swords in this deck, who has received wounds, 9:44 on the clock. And in this card, we're seeing a doctor come with a medicine bag to heal her. Now, the King of Swords comes with communication, typically to truthful communication in his integrity. And he has a strategy. He is actually pretty good at emotionally detaching, which is beneficial when you have to do shit that's important. And it's also good when your emotions are coming from fear and not, in fact, from intuition. And your emotions are showing you that you're afraid, it's good to be able to detach from those and be like, oh, those are fear-based emotions. They are not based on my intuition. So he has that skill as well. So what does it mean if we're seeing this in its reversal, and this is what will help us rebuild? For me, it is releasing a couple of ideas. Number one, releasing the idea that the masculine communicating with you is going to make you feel better. This is something that we, like an illusion that we perpetuate. Because I notice as a reader that the readings that get the most responses are the ones about communication. What is the divine masculine going to say? Also, when is he going to say it? Why isn't he saying it? Etc. We want to know why we're not hearing something. But that's because we want to hear something. What we want to hear is that the divine masculine is choosing us. That's what we want to hear. And what we believe, and that's why we're working on our beliefs in this reading, is that the divine masculine is actually going to choose someone else. So when we hear from this masculine energy, we're afraid that what we're going to hear is going to be something we don't want to hear. More lies, more deceit, more, covering up, or maybe nothing. Maybe we don't hear anything from this person. We have the belief that needs to be rebuilt is in regards to the masculine energy in general. We need to believe in the masculine's integrity, in their ability to be honest, in their ability to be monogamous, in their ability, those beliefs. See, the imbalance in our culture is not just that feminine has been oppressed, but it is that in oppressing the feminine energy inside of self, we also distort both sides. We distort our perception of the masculine because we're seeing distorted, imbalanced masculine authority. And we also then see distortion in the feminine because she has to overcompensate for being oppressed. So we see dominant, controlling, overbearing, emotionally reactive, counter energy. So our stereotypes about the feminine and our stereotypes about the masculine energy, all those stereotypes are distorted by the imbalance that exists in general, coming from the same energy that stripped the original religious texts from the oldest belief systems in the world, stripped the feminine from those belief systems, grievously imbalancing our health and well-being while doing this. So the feminine, in order to rebuild, she has to release ideas about this masculine being distorted, number one, and having the ability to heal her with any words he's going to say. The feminine must heal herself in order to heal the words she wants to hear. She has to heal her own beliefs about masculine energy. This is happening in this collective. So I feel that we are at the end stages here for a lot of those that are coming into union. Now, if you are early in your journey and a lot of this is sounding like it doesn't make sense to you, it will. All right, so I asked for two things. I asked, what archetype do we possess that will really help us overcome whatever it is that we need to release? And what guardian will really help us to do this? So the archetype that Divine Feminine embodies that will be very beneficial and helpful to her in releasing her fears about not being chosen is that this bitch is a femme fatale. I'm just dead. Highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, and this is the key part, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. So divine feminine, this archetype within you that you are absolutely a gorgeous, sensual creature that is absolutely attracting the energy that you do desire. And that even though you have been rejected in the past, your inner knowing, right, of your feminine power, girl, we got nothing to worry about, all right? Putty. These fools are putty in our hands, right? That feminine energy, that seductive energy that cannot be resisted. So that archetype is absolutely going to help you in believing in your ability to be chosen. Your guardian angel is here. There's a reversal on this card and it says sweetness. And I'm getting two things. Number one, there is this strange thing that the sweeter you are, the longer it seems for the masculine, it takes for the masculine to come around. And there is this strange dance. And of course, that is what the Two of Pentacles needs to transform. Because remember, we don't truly change energy. We shift along its spectrum. Okay? So you're supposed to be dancing. You are supposed to be dancing. But the problem is that you often step into the leadership role in the dance and it becomes off-putting. You try to assert control over the dance and you don't need to. The masculine is perfectly capable of leading the dance. And in fact, when you don't believe that he is, it undermines his confidence. So you don't have to be so sweet. Like, think of that hummingbird that came up that was being attracted to the nectar. You are nectar already. You are that erotic energy, that flower filled with nectar. You already are that thing. You don't have to do anything to sweeten that for the masculine. There's nothing you need to do to sweeten the deal. There's also this deer here that is about just traveling lightly. And remember, I said Divine Feminine was real concerned about tiptoeing and she's fucking sick of it. This card in reverse is telling me, don't be so sweet anymore. Don't tiptoe. There is no need. If this person can't handle it when you walk full force on your heels and make a racket, it's not your person. So you own your femme fatale. You walk proudly and loudly in those heels. And don't worry so much about being sweet. Honey, you are sweet. You're already sweet. And just as an aside, if you have been partaking a little too much in sweetness and my mocha peppermint coffee is telling me this is true, you may want to assess your cravings. Craving sweetness is usually about craving nurturing from a maternal energy. So you might need to be nurturing yourself a bit more, being a bit more loving, caring. Think of a mother taking care of a baby. They wrap them up. They hold them when they cry. They soothe them. They play with them. I'm getting chills because I think this is really important. So Divine Feminines, I want you to really allow your guardian angel to inspire you to be very nurturing to yourself and see if those cravings for sweets start to dissipate. Allow yourself to have sweets when you crave them. But when you're having them, start to think about how this is, I craved being sweet to myself. I craved nurturing myself. And in fact, if you've been so sweet to somebody else and tiptoeing 9:55 on the clock around somebody else, then you maybe not have been nurturing to yourself. Okay? I love that. Now, here is your healing message. This is coming from my Creativity Oracle, which I'm fucking obsessed with. It's so great. Let me grab the book for it. And you're getting change. It is number 43, and it says, for a change, do something you usually do a certain way in a different way. And your healing message is: the change card is an indication that it would benefit you to make a significant change regarding the situation in question, or to at least try a new way of doing what you do. If you are a visual artist, this would mean using different methods, different tools, or your less dominant hand. This card can also be an invitation to examine how you feel about change or to make an attitude adjustment. It is easy for an artist to fall in love with a creation and resist making changes to it. The editing process for a writer is the perfect example. If you hate the changes your editor is making, they are most likely doing their job well. Selecting the change card can sometimes indicate that the situation in question would benefit greatly from you changing your mind, which I might add is precisely what you have been commanded to do. Change your mind. Prince of Discs. This is the Page of Pentacles energy, and this is your theme for this week. This is about small steps and small gestures and new gestures and new material manifestations. So this card that said, whatever you do the same, why don't you change it and do something new? So find little small things in your life right now where you can do something new. How is that helping you in regards to this releasing the belief system that you have? Because if you can prove to yourself that you can make small material changes, perhaps like the one I suggested with sweetness, if you have cravings for sweets and you make this small little change where when you eat the sweet, you don't restrict it. I don't believe in restriction. You won't need to restrict it. What's going to happen is as you start to have mindfulness and awareness about your intentions for something, your restriction happens by choice, not by enforcement. When you start to tune in, which is what I do in my spiritual nourishment course, if you're interested, the details are below. I teach you how to do this. But when you do this, when you hold the food, when you think about the food, when you feel how that food feels, not just the thoughts that come up like the food police, oh, this, that, and the other thing about the food, but the feeling of it. And you ask yourself, I crave the sweet. Is it possible that I crave physical touch? Or, maybe I feel like crying and I want to be comforted. And then maybe that's not available to me. So because it's not available to me right now, and the only thing that is available to me is this brownie or this, sweet coffee that I like to have in the morning or whatever, it's okay for me to have that. But when I have it, what I want to do is allow myself to be fulfilled by it. If my coffee is going to be sweet, and girl, it's sweet, then I need to enjoy it and be like, that's what I wanted. I craved a little sweetness and I gave it to myself. So this experience that you are having, and it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about food at all. That's just what occurred to me. It can be about, approaching the way you do your to-do list in a new way, or how you manage your time in a new way, or, whether you listen to the same tarot readers. Christina was asking me, she's like, there's some storyline things that are shifting in your readings. Does that mean I'm off the journey? No, it means that Christina and I are in a different stage of the journey, or the messages that I'm getting or that I'm giving right now, maybe you've received this enough and now you're being called to go and receive messages from a new reader with a different perspective that's more applicable to where you are. So the next time you go to listen to a reading, listen to a new reading, or listen to a new reader, or find a new type of divination that's different than tarot. Maybe there's another healing modality that you're being called to look into. Maybe you need Reiki now, or maybe you need, but just do these little new things. The reason why this will help the masculine energy, come forward and you to release your fear about not being chosen is that if you believe that you've done something the same way all the time and you stopped and did something different and new, now you have a pathway created in your brain that says, oh, people can shift and do new things, which means this person that I am focused on, if they've done the same thing in the past over and over, they could choose to do something new now. In fact, if they're mirroring me, they are, because I'm choosing to approach this in a different way. They are doing that too. And I know that because I'm soothing myself with the knowledge that the person I believe is my soulmate is indeed my soulmate. Beautiful. Okay, now masculine, your turn. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Okay. Divine masculine, here is what needs to be released. It's not that different. Here's the 6 of Cups from the Tarot of the 78 Doors, which shows the past being read from a beautiful book to children. Now, this divine feminine is wise and she has a lot of wisdom, but she's been reading those stories for a very long time. And there's bliss and nostalgia and safety and warmth that comes from fairy tales, comes from the past. But there are lessons that need to be learned within those fairy tales. And then once those fairy tale lessons are learned, we move on in our life. We enter into a time when we don't, I guess, believe in fairy tales anymore, right? That's the trajectory. However, I'm a firm believer that you should always believe in fairy tales, but more that fairy tales teach you how to create your own reality. And so divine masculine needs to close the door, or he needs to release old stories, just like the divine feminine, of course. But in his case, there's probably someone from his past, it could have been a maternal energy, who told him a story about feminines. Throat chakra, because I'm drawn to this very curious little boy here who is hovering over and wanting to read this story, and he looks delighted in it too. This is something he's comfortable with. He's grown used to that old story, but this is what is preventing him from rebuilding. So once he releases this story of this past feminine energy, whatever it is, he can rebuild through this energy, which is the 6 of Wands. Again, we're doing the 6 of Wands, which is victory and success. Of course, we got that for the feminine somewhere. Didn't we? Was it the feminine? I don't remember, but we had the 5 of something. We had the 5 of Pentacles for her. And then, was I imagining that? I don't know. Okay. I don't know anymore, but it doesn't matter because I talked about the 5 and the 6 thing happening. 100% I had that. Yes, it's here. Okay. I'm not crazy. Great. The 5 of Pentacles progressing into the 6 of Pentacles. And then we have the 6 of Wands here. So this is coming up again, the 6 of Wands energy and progressive energy. From a conflict to a success, right? And the old story that divine masculine was telling, whatever that is, what he can do now is confidently proclaim this new story. That's all he has to do. He just has to release the old one and tell everyone else about the new one and just come in and say, hey, I have this offering of peace that I want to bring to this feminine energy that I have battled in the 5 of Wands to be able to be with. And now I have successfully arrived and I can bring this peace to her. So that is how he can rebuild, by just telling the people in his life, by speaking about this new story of success that he is about to go and make his reality. So to Guardian. So for him, we have, this is the archetype that is going to help him. And this is the guardian that will help him with this rebuilding process. Now we're getting the prince archetype in reverse, which means that the shadow attribute is actually releasing the shadow attribute is what is going to help the divine masculine. The divine masculine has this princely quality within him. He has romantic charm and the potential for power. So releasing fears in regards to this ability that he has. He is charming and he has the ability to get this power back. And using that power for self-aggrandizement is how he fumbled opportunities in the past, right? Having a lot of options, having a lot of choices, karmic partners, people on the back burner, whatever, that was power for self-aggrandizement. But now he's releasing that energy and he fully is tuning into his potential, his charming qualities, in other words. So that's really going to help him rebuild this connection and no longer hold on to a past connection that's making him feel good about himself just because she exists. And Saint Dymphna is going to help him. Now, very interesting that we see that the outcome is this energy. He's going to finally be able to understand how his emotions show him the way. Literally, he feels love for this feminine, the divine feminine energy that he wants to be with. This high priestess, right? This, higher level consciousness is pulling him in this direction. That 8 of Cups taking him towards that feminine energy and away from, excuse me, the 7 of Cups, the other options, towards that Ace of Cups, the self-love, which is represented for him by the very existence of the divine feminine energy. Just her existing is in and of itself proof to him of this higher level consciousness. So Saint Dymphna is going to be his protector for this journey into really being able to feel those emotions so that he can appropriately express them. And then he's getting the same card that we got in the Tell Me Everything spread, actually for the both partners yesterday. This is cycles. The wind blows, the wheel turns. We go through cycles just like nature because we are a part of nature. So he needs to embrace this change. And here is his healing advice. The cycles card is an indication that as we move forward in our development, we come back to the old ways, if only for a moment, to see how we have changed and what we have changed. I'm really relating to that because I told you I have this little minor financial thing that's happening to me right now. And I'm not even going to talk a lot about it or feed a lot of detail into it because that is what I used to do. So I'm doing something different. I am changing right now how I communicate about these issues. I can tell that this little niggling thing that's on my desk over here, that I've actually already taken care of. In the past, I would have taken over a week to even address it. And I already took care of the majority of what I needed to do to achieve some security that I need in order to be able to facilitate this arrival of this abundance so I can not have this problem ever again. I was like, all of my energetic tune-ins have indicated abundance and prosperity. So my current situation seems odd. However, the way I feel about my current situation seems even odder. Because while I initially have a flickering of all of the old ways that I would have handled this, if only for a moment, to see how I have changed and what I have changed. So it's this opportunity for me to see my mastery rather than it being an opportunity to see how the dreams I have aren't really going to work out and I'm going to die a pauper on the streets. That's not going to happen. My TikTok following, my YouTube following, the number of people that are participating in spiritual nourishment course and interested in becoming a member, and all of those opportunities that have to support me, that keeps growing and expanding. And it will, as long as I don't focus on it or make it the reason I do the things I do. I said today, I do the work you tell me to do, and I know you're going to pay me for it. You always do. Higher being, whoever you are. And that is true. So that's a really powerful realization for me, because I'm understanding that as I have the ability to really, really understand that cycles card, so then does this masculine energy. Sometimes you must wait and prepare for developments to reach the stage where your desires become attainable. As the wheel turns, new and exciting opportunities can appear. The moon is the never-ending reminder that cycles are essential for life to exist. When you are aware of being in tune with the universe, you know then how everything has its own seasons. Feel centered and grounded by our eternal connection to the ceaseless changes and rhythms of nature. The spiritual journey of the creative process is one of going within and finding our essential harmony with life cycles. What unites all is the joy of the moment. All right, beautiful energy for that masculine. And here is your theme, divine masculine. The Two of Wands, and it is dominion. Now, the Two of Wands has become only associated with twin flames. Every time people hold it up in readings, they talk about how it is, oh, this is your soul. It's a soulmate card and it's a twin flame card, and etc. Okay, well, it's not just that. It is a reference to two flames because it's two wands, but it's also about crossroads and choices. It's about asking for something and waiting to receive what you've asked for. And it's about dominion because it shows an individual traditionally holding the world as they glance out at the horizon, expecting to receive this dominion over what they desire and waiting for that dominion to take place. And it is a time of planning and strategizing, but usually what you realize is that all the plans and strategies that you have made are relatively useless, because by the time you arrive at the Three of Wands, those ships are coming in, and they're coming in on the divine timing, the schedule of the divine, not on your schedule, not on your plans, not on your strategies. And the divine masculine definitely needs to embrace this week, that everything he asked for is inevitably going to come to him, and he has dominion simply by desiring it. All right, we're at the end here of the reading. We're going to close with these final cards, which are for both sides of self. And this is what must be released for both sides of self. We have this King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups came out for the feminine as something that would soothe her. But the King of Cups has rarely been a soothing king to me. Typically, when I see him, I'm like, ugh, because he has a hard time expressing himself because he is so protective. This King of Cups energy of being overly protective and of withholding expression must be released. The masculine side of self that has a tendency to, not communicate, and the feminine side that has a tendency to allow scenarios where this is withheld from her. This part of this self has to be released. Now, what's interesting is that what will help rebuild is the Fool and Justice. And now I normally don't take two cards for this position because I take the top and bottom of the deck and I just sort of like pull them, and the bottom of the deck is the release and the top is what will help rebuild. And so today when I did that, for some reason the top of the deck had two cards and I was like, oh, okay, I guess. And now that I see them, I'm like, wow, because that was hidden assistance for the masculine. And what this is telling me is the fresh slate that comes once the scales have been balanced. So whatever has kept masculine from speaking, that is, it's no more. There's a new start now that has come from some, it can be an actual legal decision that was made, something that was legally binding him, or this there's so many things. Like, everybody's mind jumps to marriage contracts because we're dealing with romance and love, etc., a lot of the times. But think about other things. There's other things, like there's people that live in other countries and they have, like, legal rules about where they can go and how long they can stay in those places. There's like work contracts. There's lawsuits that are preventing, like, they're tying up finances, or draining finances. There's like all kinds of legal things that are material. And then there's just the immaterial aspects of justice, which is learning lessons. It's like being able to start over because you've learned your lessons about what this energy did for you in the past, which for both of you wasn't much, right? Being completely silent, receiving no communication about somebody's feelings doesn't help anybody. So starting fresh and approaching each other with fairness and balance. These are the archetypes and guardians that will help you in this energy. This is releasing this false sense of invulnerability and entitlement. There's something about entitlement that both of you are experiencing that need to be released. And you need to tune into your personal willpower and strength of spirit. This is a strength, again, coming up, the athlete card. So releasing any tendency to do things for selfish ends and feeling entitled to being treated a certain way by one another. So ego, issues with the ego, getting control over, the ego, because that's like respect and pride and like, I'm entitled to this. And also the masculine's false sense of invulnerability, like, I can do anything I want and still this is going to work out. And the feminine being like, yeah, no. And your guardian angel is here to help you with this, and you don't like it. And this is practice makes perfect. And the thing is, sorry. The thing is that the seeking of perfection, and now this coming out with the athlete in reverse is really, really, really making sense to me. You two are seeking to be perfect partners, perfect lovers, perfect providers, perfect nurturers, perfect. You don't allow for imperfection. You don't allow for mistakes. You don't allow for human nature, which is, I think, a reason we got that nature card. The cycle's coming up too, nature. There's the nature of something. So your guardians are here to help you with this tendency. You have the quality within you to tune into your personal willpower and strength of spirit, and to allow yourself to practice something, not having to be perfect at it. That unwillingness to practice is causing this card, which is delay. Confront the natural tendency to delay the finishing of a creative endeavor. Think about, you're trying to create a healthy relationship with somebody. I want you to think about any artistic endeavors you've ever had when you were trying to create an artwork. For me, that's music. I do art as well. But it can be anything. It can be like, finishing decorating your home, or, just think of projects that you have started and then you just didn't finish them. And there's all different reasons, but usually it's that it's not going to come out perfectly. Like my record is not finished. Why am I not finishing it? Well, I'm having feelings about pursuing music. I'm having a lot of feelings about them. I'm delaying it. But I'm delaying it because I'm afraid that when I spend $22,000 or more on my record and finish it, and then I will have just spent $22,000 on a record that like maybe 100 people hear, and I never get any investment back on that. And that's so silly because I didn't make it so that I would make a lot of money. I think I made it so that I would express these beautiful ideas in a really unique, fun, exciting, new way that other people haven't heard before. And that is really why I did it. So not finishing it, delaying it is appeasing only my ego, right? My ego is just like, well, you're not going to get a claim for it. So, it's just going to be a failure. Whereas my heart is like, how is it a failure to have made an incredible masterpiece? Did Van Gogh fail? Comparing myself to Van Gogh because I'm a Leo, but I'm, bear with me. I'm sorry. But did Van Gogh fail when he didn't sell any of his paintings in his lifetime? Is he a failure? Is he a success now because his paintings sell for so much and he wasn't a success before? How is the sale of your record or even the reach of your record even a parameter that helps you determine whether to finish it or not? Did you write the songs? Yeah. Do they mean a lot to you? Yes. Do you love singing them? I do. Do you really like to see what it's like when you take all your favorite artists and pick all the things that you think are fucking cool about their records and then create it yourself, which you learn to do? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. When you played it for the handful of people that heard it, did they enjoy it? Yep. So then what the fuck are you delaying the whole record for? Right? Let's heal this. The delay card is an indication that problems associated with the matter in question are the result of an inability to understand the cause, the remedy, or how to handle unexpected slowdowns. Selecting the delay card can also be a reminder that just as it is vital to overcome the inertia preventing your creative endeavor from getting started, it is also ending something can be difficult, especially if you have been working on it for a long time or do not have another project in mind to take its place. Delays in the completion of a thing are often caused by apprehension about the inevitable passing of judgment on whatever is said to be completed. Delaying completion or avoiding tying up loose ends can all too often add an unexpected and usually undesired piece to a project, even those that are not considered time sensitive. Read to filth by the universe. Read to a filth. So, my masculine energy is not finishing my record, which is my feminine creation, because my masculine energy is afraid I don't have enough money to give you the beautiful, amazing, perfect record that you deserve. And my feminine side of self is like, I'm sorry, I already made a beautiful, perfect creation. It doesn't need to be any different to make more money than it already is. And all I really want to do is take this creation and collaborate with you, masculine side of self, so that it can be a material thing, so that later when I die, I can be like, oh, I made that and it was lovely. Okay, Jesus. All right. Here is the theme for the week. I'm so glad you needed to hear that today, Saffron. I was thinking of you actually also. Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. What does the Knight of Cups do? He opens up to receive love and he expresses it. He goes with the flow. He does not hold himself back. If he has any issues, it's that he can be wishy-washy. But this is our theme. We're seeing the light of this. And so what we're focused on is bringing his light traits into our life and releasing any inconsistency or wishy-washiness we may have about something that we have been dreaming about for a long fucking time. I hate when the universe is right. Okay, I hope that helped everybody for today. I am not going to do the go general thing at the end of this reading today. I just don't have the energy for it, I can tell. And I still have to do TikTok readings for today. So I will try to include that in the Tell Me Everything spread that I'm going to do this weekend that you will have access to as a member. Sin and I are going to do our live TikTok free readings for an hour on Sunday. It looks like we may be starting around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Coast Time. But stay tuned to our stories because I do have plans on Sunday and I need to coordinate the time. So right now that is the proposed time and hopefully we will be able to be consistent with that. But just check our stories to see if it gets pushed back like forward an hour or whatever, but it should be fine. All right. That is what's going to happen this weekend. I, of course, will see you on Monday for the Divine tune in. And then Wednesday, Obstacles Removed. Fridays, Release and Rebuild, like every week. And the Tell Me Everything spreads are always available now on pearlsprayers.com. You can click that link below to see all the good stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for commenting. I hope that this helped you today. And I will see you very soon here on Tuned In Tarot. Take care.